shaman.
I'm Yolanda.
Okay, that's who you are.
I am.
And we
For
are
the past 40 some odd years.
Yeah.
Yep.
The past million years.
You called me an old lady earlier.
I did, sorry.
We're the connected relationship.
We are.
You weren't really wrong about me being old. So
Sorry.
we have a really valuable tip. You and I, everyone knows that we love to hike.
Right. And we like to do a lot of stuff,
But hiking in Florida in the summer is,
it's not a thing.
we do not recommend it.
No.
It's pretty miserable.
Right. I mean, it's hotter than like the sun.
The face of the sun. Yes,
Right.
it is. So instead,
We usually switch to paddleboarding.
we paddleboard.
Right.
Except
Which-
this year, there's been a really bad case of red tide. And if you are not a Florida native and you do not know what red tide is,
Think the banks of the ocean covered in dead fish. in
pretty
that
much,
sense.
yeah, it's an algae bloom that kills fish
Right.
and
Kills all.
makes respiratory issues kind
Right.
of flare up, and like it's just not pleasant.
Right.
So our
it's-
typical paddle places have been kind of off.
Right. It's kind of put a damper on
It's been
our weekend
bummer.
paddling this year.
It's been a
which
bummer.
is, for us, kind of important. We like to get out and do something active.
Yeah.
Get out in nature. It kind of helps us like clear our minds and spend
Yeah.
some time together.
Yeah. So you planned this great paddle, right?
Of course
And no, you did. You planned a great.
Of course I did.
You planned a paddle.
Right.
It was great.
Right.
But
And it had been a while.
it had been a long time
Right.
since I'd been several months since I had been on the paddleboard.
Right.
And it's kind of one of those skill sets that if you haven't done it for a while, you feel really wobbly.
Right, because there's a certain amount of balance, and you kind of get your sea legs, right? Like
Yeah, and it was
you get
kind
used
of
to the rocking.
yeah, it was
and-
kind of
right.
wavy. The water was kind of wavy. It was a little windy.
Right.
So I literally was like, I have
Having a
lost.
bad day.
I've lost my sea legs.
Right.
I need to regain my sea legs.
Right, and the more you do that, the more exercise you are at it, the
Right.
easier it comes.
Right.
Right.
The more comfortable you get.
Right.
But then I was thinking, this is not unlike in our relationships
Right.
when, you got something that's really good,
Mm-hmm.
like date night,
Date nights, whatever.
money, check-in meetings, and it doesn't even need to be like
Those are
fun,
good. Those are
but it's
good.
good for your relationship. Like ultimately, those things are good for your relationship, right? Because then you're on the same page.
Right. Their communication building.
Right, right.
their
Or
relational building.
even being intentional about putting the phone down when you're talking to each other, or having a meal together, or greeting each other at the end of the day with a kiss, or after
Right.
one of you has been gone. Like all of those things are good things.
Well, right, because we take those things for granted. They're good for relationships,
Right.
and you get into a flow of doing them, and
Right.
they're good while they happen.
Right.
And then sometimes they kind of
And then red tide happens.
right.
Or it's back to school time, or
Right.
there's been a transition in your schedule, or
job change,
any number of
responsibilities
things, right?
change, whatever. It's anything that disrupts like the flow of
Mhm,
life, right?
mhm. And then you're like, we're not connected. We're
Right.
not as connected as we used to be.
Right.
And then when you kind of take a look at what's happening, you're like, oh, well, we're not doing some of the things that were helping us to connect.
Right. You gotta get your sea legs back.
Got to get your sea legs back.
Right.
That's right. So the challenge, we haven't had a challenge in a while.
Mm. See, we've gotten out of the flow of that.
We have. Got to get our sea legs back. The challenge is to identify like one of those things that had been in place in your relationship that's helpful, that you enjoyed, or that was like beneficial,
Right.
but that's not happening right now.
That you could use again
That
in
you
your
could use
relationship.
again in your relationship,
Right.
and get back on the board, even when it feels wobbly.
Well, it probably will feel wobbly at
Yeah.
first. And I
Yeah.
think that's okay.
Right.
And the more you practice it, the more you get back in the flow,
Mm-hmm.
the more things are righted again.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good week, guys.